Get to know the old people, man. Because the new old people that are coming are going to be the worst old people we've ever had. We got some terrible old people coming, man. 50 years from now, old people now still have stories. You ever sit with an old person and look at their photos? Every photo's got a story. What's this, Grandma? Here is a picture of your great-grandfather standing beside Charles Lindbergh before he flew across the Atlantic. First ever transatlantic flight in history. That's an amazing story. Can you imagine listening to the stories of old people's photos 50 years from now? How terrible that experience is going to be? What's this, Grandma? Here is a picture of my breakfast. What? What a breakfast. And here are some shoes I once thought about buying. And here is the wing of a plane. And here is the weather forecast. And here is a picture of your great-grandmother staring at herself in the bathroom mirror. And here are 12 more of that exact same photo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to News from the Pew. I apologize because I'm having some camera issues right now, so I will get that figured out before the end of the night. I hope everybody's having a wonderful, Eve of the Independence. I know Steve is anxiously awaiting tomorrow. It's his favorite holiday of the entire year. Even more excited than Christmas and or Easter. He is more excited.
Does one look at the resolution for the second, or you look for the 2 days later version?
Any of this stuff, it's all nonsense if you look at it, because everybody celebrates this and then the South did something wrong, and it's like, you know, the South and the colonies did pretty much the exact same thing, but sure, we'll go with that.
Well, no one knows what I'm talking about. The resolution actually happened on 2nd July.
Yeah, it happened
on the
second.
thing when there was people up there. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. There was people texting about eating meat on Friday because it's Independence Day. So everyone's like, well, what do we do? Obviously, it's a no-brainer. It's not a holy day of obligation to church. It's, Independence Day, which I told them, well, if you guys want, you can celebrate on 2nd July, which is actually the day when the Congressional Congress got together and said, we declare we're free. These colonies are free and independent states. The Lee resolution. And there's Brian McClanahan has a great post up on it with the video of from John Adams' movie, and they're all just sitting there stunned when he reads the resolution, because it was real then. And then John Adams came out saying that day, the 2nd, supposed to be the day of great pomp, parade, sport, shooting guns in the air, things like that. I have no idea how they picked the 4th, how that came around. Maybe it came like with the new calendar when someone goes, oh, the visitation was in May, when yesterday was the visitation. But anyway, just if anybody has no clue what Rick and I were talking about, that's a little historical thing that you may not have known. It was actually the 2nd when they declared independence, but the 4th, I think, is when it really got published to everybody.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And one thing about that series on HBO, the Adams series, actually does get that right. And a lot of people don't even, it doesn't matter, Steve, because most people don't even understand what tomorrow's about. It's just another day to, sit around, drink beer, and, like you said, complain that they can't have meat on a Friday, even though it's, can we not please? I know people, I wasn't trying to be mean to Catholic Comedy when he asked the question. He was trying to just be like, oh, come on, man.
Well, I didn't think anything of him posting. I thought other people might. So, it's. I used to love Independence Day, and then what a big thing that helped out was listen to Church's documentary series on the Spirit of '76 and other things about that. Gets in the background of everything was going on, because they were They were like, we really doing this. And then you think about where we're at right now. Hey, everyone goes over what George and the tax thing, and you hear about Sam Adams. What happened really was Sam Adams and those guys were really just antagonists. And by the way, if you ever had Sam Adams beer, it's the same Sam Adams. But the funny thing about it is he was such a bad entrepreneur. He pretty much ran the brewery of his family into the ground. For some reason, he's the face of the brewery company right now. Don't ask. It's kind of funny on that. But man, after Rona and all that, people were like, "Happy Independence Day." Like, wait a minute, you're locked up in your house. Play the Lee Greenwood song, "Proud to be an American." Well, at least I know I'm free. Free for what? You can't. Most of you people are locked up in the house. You're scared to go outside because the overlords told you not to go. I mean that. So it gradually was like chipping away. And then listen, obviously getting into more Southern background on things and going, wait a minute, the same people that celebrate Independence Day tell everyone that in the 1861, everyone was a traitor for doing the exact same thing that their forefathers did. I mean, the Lee Resolution, the one that we just started, he's the great grandfather of a certain General Lee. All those guys that were in the founding father and founding group was their grandkids were the ones in the 1860s doing the same thing. But it's like a disconnect. It's hard to get excited when you see it. And then you see what everything going on, like with the BBB and all this other stuff going. Okay.
Oh, Steve. It's a national holiday with the BBB. What are you talking about?
Dude.
Oh, glorious day. We have tax cuts now, Steve. We got
tomorrow. So we're signing at about 5 o'clock, and at about 5 o'clock we're going to have B-2s and F-22s and F-35s flying right over the White House. And the Speaker and I and John Thune, we're all there together with most Republican senators and congressmen and women, and it's going to be a great day. So we'll be signing with those beautiful planes flying right over our head.
Just waste some more money. Who cares? More.
He's already wasted, Steve.
What's up?
Hold on.
No, sorry. What was I going to go with that? Oh, do you remember the cell phone thing we were telling about last week? No? Yes?
Sure I do.
Okay. We'll say yes.
I'm sure I do. I remember that. I remember the cell phone thing we were talking about from last week. Yes.
The Trump phone. One of the key selling features on the Trump phone was made in USA. Guess what they eliminated from their website this week? Made in USA.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
So you end up getting a sale if you buy the Trump phone. Not only will it be just made in China like the rest of them, but it'll probably cost the exact same thing as every other cell phone. Yeah, probably be connected to Peter Thiel, who self-proclaims himself as the Antichrist. We'll get into that later. I can get into
well,
that.
Steve, pretty much part of the basic thing with Trump. One thing left to another. It's really just, oh, look, we got this new product that's fantastic. Oh, but yeah, it's supposed to be, made in America, but it's not. And sorry about that. So, oopsie. But thanks for buying it, and thanks for supporting Trump everything. So, have a good day, I guess. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with the big, beautiful bill and the fact that, everything Trump enterprise and all of the other things that are going on. So they got rid of, I didn't even check. I wasn't looking at, I wasn't following up on the Trump China phone, but that is actually quite hysterical that they decided to, go, oops, sorry about that.
They quietly deleted that part from the website. It was kind of funny to hear about that. Yeah, it doesn't launch till. Well, there's another. Did you hear about the website that launches tomorrow?
No, I didn't. What is it?
Well, tomorrow something. Try noon for everybody listening, because it doesn't work right now. You type it in, it goes right to the White House. AI.com.
AI.com. Goes right to the White House.
Because I'll show you that right now if you don't
Show
believe.
us.
We'll type it in real time. Let me see. .gov. I'm sorry, .gov. My apologies.
You got to get it right, buddy. Got to get it
Well,
right.
you see it right here. It goes right White House. AI.gov.
I love it. I can't tell you how much I love it. This is fantastic.
It's good. You can't just wait for this thing to get worse. How I found this out, if you look at the technocracy.news, what's his face? Patrick, what's his name? I'll get that for you for a second.
Okay.
Anyway, Patrick Woods. He did a post on that. Here it is. Let me see. AI.gov, the digital Leviathan launching this Independence Day. Cue up Will Smith. Get the here's your present. Happy birthday, America. Enslavement. AI.gov will be exclusively ran by technocrats to achieve technocratic ends. There will be no public input or involvement. For all you scoffers, politicians, academics, and citizens who have been carping at me for the last 18 years as I warned you what was coming, will you please get your head on straight? If these digital maniacs are not stopped, they won't be stopped. It is game over. Game over, man. For freedom and liberty, for sanctity and humaneness. Patrick Wood, editor. Silent coup in plain sight. He's in just 16 days, the Trump administration will launch AI.gov, a centralized AI command center that represents nothing less than the digitalization of tyranny. This isn't hyperbole or conspiracy theory. This is documented fact. I guarantee you, Rick, that we are the only guys talking about this. Leaked from the government repositories and confirmed by multiple sources. What you're about to learn will fundamentally change how you understand the battle for human agency in the 21st century. We got more on that coming on this. I don't know if Ricky just sees some of this stuff. The AI chatbot assistant, the unified API framework. This goes into detachment 2.0. It says to do with OpenAI, Google, Amazon, Meta, all that stuff. The Panopticon dashboard, the most chilling component console, provides real-time monitoring of AI usage across government agencies. It tracks which tools federal government use. Tools not in the sense of people here. Analyzes their performance and enables managers to optimize resource allocation. In plain English, comprehensive workplace surveillance disguised as management analysis. Let's see.
This is absolutely unbelievable when you look at this thing. This is crazy.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, if we're wrong tomorrow, that thing doesn't come on, hey, I'll eat some crow. But I mean, it's linked to the White House.
Yeah, they bought it. They bought the whole web. They bought the domain and everything, and they got it set to go. And while Trump is signing the big beautiful bill with the B2s and everything, that website will be quietly launched, and not a one person, Steve, will be the wiser. Because why would they? It doesn't mean anything, because it's all about Trump. It's all about the big beautiful bill, and it's just going to be all amazing all the time.
He posted that article on July 1st. If you don't believe me, I'll click it again just to put it on.
Bring the receipts, Steve. Bring the receipts on that one.
July 1st. And Rick, where's the count? How many conservative talking heads online have even mentioned? How many mentioned detachment 201 and or any combination thereof? I would say with the principle from what's his face 0.0.
I mean, that's because the last 2 weeks, what have we been distracted with, Steve? What have we been distracted with? And I know people who've watched the show for a while will think that it's just the same old talking points, but guys, it's true. There's a reason why they've made a big dog and pony show out of passing this omnibus bill with a really dumb name on it. Because it's going to fund the federal government, and it's going to push the debt ceiling out, which is why Massey and Rand Paul didn't vote for it. And everybody was giving them crap for it, even though they were actually being principled in their stand. And But everybody else is like, we need to pass this. We need to have the propaganda ready to go. So that way, when we're doing the other things, the things that we don't want you to know about, you won't be able to see it. You won't be able to pay attention to it.
Well, that's withstand the storm. That's a good question. What does a parallel economy look like? Well, when CBDC comes through, which is coming, there was a post.
We should actually stop referring to it as a CBDC and start calling it about what it will be called, which is stablecoin.
Yeah, stable coins. But I mean, just everyone knows the CBDC part a little bit more. Either way, it's going to be a controlled currency. So when that comes through, and there was a push of trending of in the Fed, and someone brought up, why is this trending? Oh, wait, we're going in AI. In the Fed, you don't need the Fed when you have this controlled currency anymore.
Well, that's why what they're going to continue to do is spend the money. And what gets to a point that, because the deficit's already blown away. So I appreciate Massey and those guys talking about it, but there's no coming back from it. When it gets to a point that they can't hide it anymore, Steve, they'll say, well, our national currency isn't the dollar anymore, guys. It's stable coin. So it doesn't matter how much money we print, because that doesn't matter. We don't count it. The stable coin, the digital currency is what we count.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's the writing's on the wall. I mean, it's already dried ink too. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So what's going to happen? What are you going to do? All right. So you're gonna get your thing, because you got to have your digital ID, which is coming. It's already, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Already pushing on it on some of the banks and this. And so you won't be able to get this. Maybe you won't like. They don't like what you said about most favored nation, or they don't like what you said about wearing muzzles, or your credit score isn't high enough, whatever. Well, you don't get to use that money today, or you might not be able to drive so far because, they're trying to push the EVs and all that, control cars and all that. I mean, gas, hey, it's cheap. It's so cheap. We're winning. It's $3. That article, the video that the Fox said, it's 20 cents cheaper than last time. We're supposed to cheerlead say it's $3.23, even though Trump's out there saying it's 180, 198, like the zombies. It's 198, even though reality doesn't show that. So what you're going to have to do is be able to start growing your own food, in a sense too. You're going to have to start living on the land, off the land. You don't need to go get 15 acres in the boondocks. You don't need that. I can grow a ton off what I have right here. I don't even rent. I just rent right here. I can grow a ton of stuff just in pots. Imagine if I owned the place and I could put it in ground. I'd have food forest and a half. You can get creative with that. Put blueberry, blackberry bushes, things like that around the perimeter of your house.
Well, your ancestors didn't have 12 acres. Your ancestors had small plots of land, and they were able to, even your grandparents, your great-grandparents, they were able to grow tons of food on it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at David the Good. He's I don't know, him and I have been chatting over so often. I might have to do a show with him. He's cool. But, I mean, he's got a lot of land, but he does a lot of more like cheaper versions of stuff like squash. They had posted 40 watermelons that he grew the other day. Things that you don't need a lot of money to get going, but will sustain you for a long run. Potatoes. I'm still learning.
High calorie foods, right?
Yeah. I mean, I got 5 watermelons growing. Those sugar babies right now, and the blackberries, the strawberries, pepper plants. I got 6-foot pepper plants that I grew from seed, and they're now 6 feet tall after I figured out how to make them bigger and all this. So you're going to have to do that. And then maybe your neighbor's doing the same thing. You can trade back and forth, grow some tobacco so that you can have some kind of trade off, some coffee. You can do a coffee plant. I have a coffee plant back there. So there's a lot of options. But it's, again, think locally, act locally, think about what you're doing you don't have to travel. Now, again, if you're traveling and if you don't live an hour away from a traditional mass, it might get hard for that. So you might need to start worrying about, what parish is near you too, because eventually they're not going to let you drive. Been talking about that for a while. They don't want you to do that. And if you don't think that it's because, Trump might let you drive, well, guess when the next guy's coming and you see this authoritarian rule going on from this regime, and yes, it's a freaking authoritarian regime going on. What do you think the next guy is going to do? They're going to take this and put some steroids in it and make it much, much, much worse for everybody. So eventually that stuff's going to come. Steve's a quack. They've been Look from Obama with the cash for clunkers, got rid of all the old cars. Now you have everything that has a chip in it. You can control every car that's pretty much on the road right now by any kind of push a button type deal. And all the new cars, definitely all the computerized stuff. Oh, that. Where do you think you're going today, Kyle? Well, I guess I'm not going anywhere. I mean, they got commercials where you got the automatic locks. A friend of mine, not even a nutter like I am, talked about how he's so glad he doesn't have a smart house because Duke Energy may not let you have your AC under 75 or whatever when it's 98 degrees outside. You're like, yep, every house is going to have one of those things. So what you got to have a plan on what not to do. There's a story out the other day about Wi-Fi being able to track you inside. I think Rick and I know I've talked about this on Clown Plan. I think Rick and I talked about it. We knew about this from years ago. That's why I cut off the Wi-Fi. I talked about that before. I cut off the Wi-Fi definitely at night so that anything else happens, they can't use the Wi-Fi to track you. I'll pull up that story. Just think if you think I'm a kook on that stuff. But again, Rick pulled this up a minute ago. Here's from Derek Bros on the BBB, expanding U.S. surveillance state. Now this is last week, 2 days ago, I think it was. So it's already passed. So he's writing past tense right now. While the ban on AI regulation would have been potentially dangerous, I believe the focal point of the opposition should be the fact that the bill expands the immigration police state and the use of AI, facial rec, and biometric data collections of Americans. Remember what the story was with Fox the other day, or it was a CNN talking about the app that people, we can tell when ICE is coming in. Well, they also have one that can track everybody in the planet and tell them who's illegal, who's not illegal. And that will be used against you. And even I have this up here. While I'm thinking about it, I might as well just show you the thing. There's the Fitbit. Did I not pull it up? I'll get it in a second. But your Fitbit's going to track you and can be used against you in a court of law.
You were talking about the remember that story in Colorado a couple years ago where they set their meters at 75 or whatever it was. So it's already happened in places. Everything Steve is talking about may sound farcical, may sound like it's happening in the future. There's been test runs in different places around these United States for different things. Everything that we've mentioned, everything that we've discussed and spoke about has happened in one way, shape, or form somewhere. And it's all being set up for this final move, final set, whatever you want to call it. And so it is. There we go. There's my pretty face. You all get to see me now. Sorry about
the other one.
Yeah, go back. No, you're not. You're getting all this. Anyway, the whole thing is designed to destroy, and that's destroy individualism, destroy movement, whatever you want to call it, blah, blah, blah. Think about how I've been talking about how I don't like traveling on airplanes, right? Steve's talking about the fact that by 2030, you're not going to be allowed to fly on airplanes anymore because that's only going to be for the ultra wealthy and the ultra rich. You're going to get that privilege to do so. So it's all set up in every way for these things. And it's just something that people are not either aware of, or Steve, people are going to be in such dire straits financially that they're going to be begging for the stable coin. They're going to be begging for whatever CBDC because they don't have an option. So it's happening now, and we've said it. And if you've watched the show enough, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again. They've been testing the oh man, I just forgot it. Whatever it is. Oh, the reason why they let Trump in, right? The reason they let Trump win. And if you don't think it's a letting in, it is a letting in. You don't win as decisively as Trump won, and then all of these other kinds of things without the allowance of the deep state, because everybody's too busy cheering on America and MAGA and all these other kinds of things. And we're debating about all other kinds of nonsense. And yeah. Oh, yep, there it is. Wi-Fi is tracking where.
Xfinity came out with this the other day. This is thing, hey, it's conspiracy theory. This is from Xfinity's own website.
Yep.
Signals that detect motion in your home at no extra cost.
Yeah. And some people are going to be like, cool, sign me up. That sounds awesome.
Uh-huh. It is launched Wi-Fi motion. New feature attracts movement inside your home using nothing but Wi-Fi signals. No cameras, no sensors, just your internet bouncing waves off your body to see where you are. And it's automatically included. Woohoo! Your router just became a motion detector.
And there's a guy named Greg Carpenter. He used to be on he was talking about this 4 years ago.
Yeah,
he was mentioning that too. Like your Wi-Fi is going to be able to detect where you are in your house.
Yeah.
And it's going to be bouncing off your phone, bouncing back to the router, all these other kinds of crazy things.
Here's the U.S. Embassy wants every social media username of past 5 years on new visa applications. So, in order to check if you're anti-Semitic or you just don't support Israel, remember, I got a video on that one. Here's Palantir's Immigration OS fuels Trump administration's immigrant removal agenda. Palantir again.
Yep.
New ICE mobile app.
Palantir sponsoring your favorite vice president, JD Vance.
Yes. Don't worry. I got maybe people didn't see the video I got on him. New ICE mobile app pushes biometric policing into American streets. So now you talk about that one. ICE rolls facial rec tools out to officers' phones. So now you got that.
Well, another scary thing is that some guys put up, I think it was night vision or UV something. Don't quote me on it, guys, but the point of the story makes out that your iPhone's essentially taking a picture of your face every 5 seconds. Every time you look down, the camera is shuttering to take pictures of your face every couple, because they would do it at night and then they would look at night vision and there was always a flash from the iPhone. Because
and never,
even if you don't do the facial recognition, it's still doing it.
Yeah. You don't never turn on that open up with a face rec thing, but yeah, it's a tracking device. Everybody knows it's a tracking device. I mean, anything that has smart on it is a tracking device.
Oh, did you see this, Steve? You probably let me see. Give me I didn't prep him on this because my camera went down, which is why I've been trying to do tech support during this first part of the show. But there have been reports now that Apple's iWatch is causing cancer. And you'll see pictures online where they're actually, because they'll wear it 24 hours a day except to charge it, and you'll see essentially burn marks where the lights have been taking readings off of all those kinds of things. Hey, first of all, Person of Interest is a great show. Second of all, you're 100% right.
Yeah, and that was
what you get, the benevolent AI or the mean AI. That's really what.
No, but what Rick's saying, where I remember talking about that 4 or 5 years ago, and it's all from the EMF, obviously. But take an experiment. Does anybody put their phone up? Used to be able to, your flip phone, you put up to your ear.
Yep.
Now, if you put that thing up to your ear now, and I've only done it a couple times in a decade, from the new stuff, your head gets hot. It's from all that radiation that's right there. And then you see the guys with the wireless buds in there. Guess what that is? That's just heat going right into your head again, frying your head. So anything those Wi-Fi, Bluetooth stuff, never use those Bluetooth things. Always get the EMF proof.
The old school wired ones, just the old school wired ones, and I think they work better anyway. So I try not to use the wireless stuff. But it's. Yeah, man, here's the thing. We're all of us have been programmed to go off of phones for the majority of our daily lives. Everything has been, and it's not just you. It's not even, you could say, any of our faults. Is because we've been herded to do it by society, corporations, everything. Oh, it's on your phone. What was the phrase, Steve, 10 years ago? Don't worry, man. There's an app for that. Just download the app on your phone. And
Well,
then
I
boom.
remember when I was a trainer back in Colombia, they were always talking about how the Chinese did everything on their phone, banking, uh, just everything. I mean, literally just had this cell phone. They didn't have any desktop or anything else. Everything they wanted to do, they had the digital ID, all that. And back then, no one knew about. Well, a couple guys, I would say, I guess, old media would know more at that time, but regular people never heard of digital ID, never heard of anything like this. They were, hey, we were just jacked to get music on your cell phone anymore. And that's what everyone was thinking about doing. And just no, those guys, China was leading the way on the surveillance state in this, and still are. But I mean, we're trying to catch up big time.
Yeah. Yeah. And believe me, they are catching up. They are making up for lost time with all those kinds of things. And so
Yeah, and
it's
Mark brought up this, and I just had to post up the Fitbit can use your Fitbit against you. And again, all that is tracks where you're at, what you're doing, all this stuff. And
heartbeat, all that.
And that's the thing with RFKJ saying, hey, we want wearables because it's going to they need the data and the tracking on this. It's literally it's talk about facepalm. When you heard that going, our guy got bit by the vampire.
Maha,
the zombies
baby.
got him.
Maha is going to be wearables. That's
we'll have back to the big, beautiful bluster bill thing. Well, Dr. Paul from a couple days ago.
Weekend for the senators, they got to stay up all night and play bridge or something, occasionally vote. But what a nightmare. And how the House and the Senate controlled by the Republicans, which means that, things should improve. We have, and I think with the president's a Republican too. So that means we should be cutting back. So when the bill leaves the House, we were complaining a bit about the shenanigans on the House. But since it's gone on over the Senate, it's been increased in spending by another $1 trillion. So that's a sign that maybe we're not home yet on this spending.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about this so-called big, beautiful bill. And what it is a massive bloated omnibus bill that has everything with the kitchen sink in it. We've talked about it for a while. A few brave people on the Hill have stood against it, Thomas Massie being one, Senator Rand Paul being the other. And over the weekend, as you point out, the Senate voted on their version of the bill. And how this works, the House, because it's a money bill, the House votes first. The Senate brings up their version of the bill. And then there's a reconciliation of the two bills for a final passage, which goes to the president, as you know, Dr. Paul. So the Senate took out their version of the bill. And as clockwork, Dr. Paul, as so easily predictable, what they did is all of the carrots that the leadership put in on the Republican House, on the House version of the bill to appease conservatives were ripped out by the Senate. We got you. We suckered you into voting for it. And they were ripped out. Now, Thomas Massie, of course, has the receipts. Put that first clip up. He points this out, and I apologize for my voice. I've had a cold over the weekend. So here's the things that were in it to appeal to the Republicans that were all taken out. Thomas Massie said, you were promised the big, beautiful bill would do these things, but it does not. 1, prohibit welfare for illegal aliens. Boom, zipped out of the bill, gone. Stop funding sex changes for kids. Ripped out of the bill. End registration of suppressors. That's for guns. Ripped out of the bill. Defund Planned Parenthood for 10 years. Nope. Taken out of the bill. Implement the REINS Act. Nope. Taken out of the bill. Reduce the deficit. On the contrary, the Senate added to the deficit, as you just pointed out, Dr. Paul. So you know this routine over and over again. There is.
And you see all the pro-lifers just jacked about the defunding of Planned Parenthood. Hey, good. You didn't need this to do that. And on the flip side, you got a bunch of technocratic, horrible, nightmare stuff.
It only does it for a year.
Do what?
It only defunds Planned Parenthood for a year.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even. By the time
you got the pro-life Inc. is just living it up. Rejoice.
One of these like Peachy Keen or whatever her name is on X, she said, well, all you idiots told us not to vote for Trump. She's a Catholic. She loves Poso. While you idiots were told us not to vote for Trump. He just got Planned Parenthood defunded. And I responded, okay, what about IVF? I'll wait. And haven't heard from her since. And then I got people, well, Planned Parenthood's really bad. I'm like, IVF is worse, bro. Well, it's coping. There's just so much coping that they
get you with that. They're like, oh, well, you want to kill baby. If you don't want all this other horrid stuff, then you have to vote for this with all the horrid stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's like the whole, well, you must want immigrants to get all this. No, we don't want this, but we don't want that either. There's all that pork that they shoved in. And then they go, well, if you don't want this, then you must want that. It's such infantile logic.
Steve, it's the exact same argument as if you don't want to bomb Iran, you obviously want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. It's always these one or the other. It's black and white with all of these people. It's one or the others with this. And by the way, forget the GOP, because the GOP folded like a cheap suit on suppressors and SBRs. They could have voted them in, but just like Planned Parenthood, just like the pro-life group, if GOA, FPC, all these guys who talk about giving you your God-given right to freedom, if they got suppressors and SBRs off of the registry, they'd have less things to fundraise on, guys. It's all about fundraising. It's all about keeping their jobs. And that's the swamp. And that's all the NGOs that fight against the things in the swamp. It exists to perpetuate itself.
Because, yes, it does do these things on the surface. Do deductions for tip income. Everyone's talking about overtime pay, providing
$10,000 or $20,000 anyway.
Yeah, something like that. Providing tax relief for Social Security recipients. Expands the 2017 tax cuts. Reinstates full and immediate expansion of business equipment and R&D. Delivers new construction write-offs for manufacturers, boosts incentives for domestic semiconductor production. High-income Americans and owners of pass-through entities also stand to benefit from expanding deductions. The bill raises the state and local tax deduction cap for upper middle class households. But these tax changes are offset by historic spending cuts that achieve nearly $1 trillion reductions to Medicaid and SNAP. Don't worry, there's other ones that doesn't go away. It goes to somewhere else. Scales back the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare subsidies, and imposes stricter eligibility checks, drawing ire from hospitals and health advocates. Meanwhile, clean energy EV sectors face deep setbacks as tax credits are repealed and renewable subsidies curtailed. Now, the House passes Trump's big, beautiful bill that will bring 2026 military budget over $1 trillion. So you saw where the $1 trillion went, and went from here to over here.
And also now they took some of that money and they're funding. ICE has the exact same budget as the U.S. Marines.
Oh yeah. They have bigger budget than
Israel. They got a bigger military. They got a bigger budget than Israel's military. Now, listen, I'm all for the deportations, but maybe that's a little too much.
According to the Break in Defense, the 150 billion bill. Well, 150 billion military spending. The legislation includes that, and the White House plans to use 113 billion of it to supplement the 2026 military budget, bringing it to approximately over $1 trillion, representing a 13% increase from 2025. Remember how Doge and then Trump back in the day said they were going to slash that in half? 150 billion will go to several military priorities of the DJT regime, including the so-called Golden Dome, a plan to sprawling missile defense system. U.S. That's sure to kick off a new arms race and will be a boondoggle for weapons makers. 29 billion for shipbuilding, 25 billion Golden Domers, 25 billion for munitions, 16 billion for initiative tech such as drones, AI, and low-cost weapons, 15 billion for nuclear modernization, 12 billion for U.S. military build-up in the Asia Pacific, 9 billion for air superiority. While the U.S. has never officially had a $1 trillion budget, the actual cost of U.S. military spending has exceeded $1 trillion for years, according to Veteran Defense Analysis Winslow Wheeler. Based on $895 billion National Defense Authorization Act, U.S. national security spending for 2025 was expected to reach about $1.77 trillion.
Yep. And that's why I appreciate Massey and I appreciate Rand Paul. I wish we had 435 Masseys and 100 Pauls. But when they're arguing about the deficit, I know you're at least bringing attention to it, but that thing is a lost cause, man. It is such, you're not getting that toothpaste back in the bottle. I mean, continue to make people aware of the fact that we're spending ourselves into Zimbabwe, but there's no going back from that.
No. And the peace president who they're actually trying to put his face on Mount Rushmore again.
Oh yeah, Paulina Luna has a model in her office of what it would look like.
Yeah, they just gave $510 billion weapons to Israel again. Yeah. He gets on the plane and talks about how he doesn't want Gazans to be killed.
Yeah, guess what? Not only Gazans are getting killed, Christians are getting killed now too.
Hey, it's barbecued a Christian area. Yeah, it's barbecued some group.
Yep, one of the few Christian towns left. The Israelis just open fired into it. And it's like none of the Zionists who were like, oh, it's Israel's being attacked, we have to bomb Iran. And then you mention Gaza and they're like, shut up, idiot. And it's like, okay.
There's a bunch of these been out today about showing people's inconsistencies. Yeah. You had like Charlie Kirk. My nose is so far up DJT's butt, I can smell his burps.
You can smell the red hat. That's what he can smell. Yeah.
The U.S. national debt is being raised by $1 trillion about every 100 days. Washington is out of control. We need change and fast. Now, congratulations.
Big, beautiful bill. Big, beautiful bill. Well, I call this the Benny Johnson. That's just it's the typical Benny Johnson maneuver. So it's whatever the case may be. Now, my fellow Catholics, does this sound doom and gloom? Is this depressing? Is this all this other kinds of stuff? No, this is just the fallen world we live in, which is why you got to make sure you stay regimented to the faith, to your rosaries, to your devotions. Make sure you keep your parents, your fathers be good leaders in your homes, mothers be good stewards of your children, and this show should make you want to be even more Catholic. It should make you want to just absolutely live 100% of your life in the faith and try to break away from Americanism. That's what the point of the show is.
It's not just give you the idea of why you're doing what you're doing. Keep a focus. Yeah. It's not sunshine and lollipops out there.
Yeah, and that there's a lot of stuff out there that'll try to get you away from the faith and try to convince you of the American religion and how it's okay over here, guys. The water's good over here, man. America first, MAGA, woo, and all of these other kinds of things. When it's like, no, you have to make sure you stay focused on what's important in the end. Because look at this, 250 million, the technocrats' big beautiful land grab. They tried to do this with did we talk about this last week with Mike Lee?
People were bringing it up, but the reason behind it was to give it to the technocrats for what? Building data storage units. Like we talked about a couple of weeks ago when I brought it up, because there's one just east of Charlotte being built. Huge. I'm watching the news going, holy crap. And I'm going, I wonder how many other people are looking at it. Everyone's like, it's all the way in the middle of nowhere. No, there's a gigantic data hub being built in the middle of nowhere, just east of Charlotte. And that's what all these land grabs are going to be building, hundreds of these darn things.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling, because some people would send, when I was covering on my show, Steve, they would say, well, I don't want the feds to have it. And I would respond, well, this isn't getting sold to American families. It's going to BlackRock and Vanguard, who are then going to turn around and then sell it to the data companies, Palantir, and all these others, to continue the agenda. Oh, Israel's best senator, Ted Cruz.
Tel Aviv Cruz. Yeah. It's hysterical watching. And there's been people calling these guys out left and right. It's fun. It's great. But one of the things in the bill was obviously the border wall. Remember that? Everyone wants to get the border wall going.
Build the wall. Mexico pay for it.
We'll finally complete.
Are we Mexico?
The biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately. We will ensure that this system is in place
And I will tell you, it will be on land, it will be on sea, it will be in air. We will have a proper tracking system.
That's right. America first, baby. Tracking you with the best of them. Tracking you with the best of them. And that's all part, it's all part of the technocratic plan. It just is what it is in that regard. And there's nothing we can do about it. This plan has been set in motion for 20 plus years, probably more than that. I'm just throwing out a number. And everything from the Patriot Act and all that stuff, and what that was designed to get you used to surveillance. Because remember, they were going after the terrorists with that. And then all of a sudden, your traditional Latin Mass was the terrorists. So
it's upgraded to remember the whole anti-Semitic EO.
Yep.
Effing Zionist. This is a person who is calling for basically.
Look at it, DOJ anti-Semitism task force chair.
The destruction of Israel and Jewish Americans. The Trump administration is not going to allow anti-Semitism to exist in this country. And as head of the Department of Justice task force, I can guarantee you, Martha, and the American people, we're going to eliminate anti-Semitic conduct. We got marching orders from Pam Bondi, Harmeet Dillon, and President Trump. And that's why I'm here today. I'm telling you that anti-Semitism is not going to happen. And people who want to come in this country on a visa will not be allowed to enter this country if they have anti-Semitic mindset with the intention to incite violence. I want to thank the Secretary of State Department for moving so fast on this, because we were on this over the weekend, Martha, and we sent that letter immediately to the Secretary of State's office this morning at 8 o'clock.
Steve, can I share something real quick?
You know, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less.
Sorry, this did we talk about this last week or not? DHS. No. $94 million in grants to protect 512 Jewish faith-based organizations. So just understand where the money goes.
A lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was an auto pen maybe that allowed it to happen, and it did happen. But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the
Remember, he said that about 2 months ago.
Street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together. But I think getting them out, we forget about.
So he's talking about getting rid of U.S. citizens, because man, the dude for the, by the way, BP Cock, I got more on that. Just wait, I got video on that coming.
But wait, there's more.
Get your popcorn and come back. The mayor, the guy that's running for mayor for New York City, they're trying to strip him of his American citizenry and kick him out. You talk about, we got some really messed up people in office right now. One of the things. Here it is. Breaking.
There definitely is an agenda being enforced.
Breaking. The Trump DOJ has begun to prioritize and stripping naturalized citizens of their U.S. citizenship when they're charged with crimes, per a recent memo. And obviously, Nick Sorter is another cheerleader. Strip citizenship and deport. Okay, what are the charges? Who gets to determine what charge? Can it be anything? Again, they're looking about getting rid of anybody that says most favored nations is.
It's getting there.
Post,
and they test ran it, Steve, when they got rid of the college students who were just writing negative things. Right? Remember, we were all about free speech until it was a certain group that you couldn't talk about.
Yeah, C.J. Hopkins, who's a satirist, a great writer, by the way, he writes, it's getting harder and harder to write dystopian fiction about corporatist-controlled totalitarian societies, or at least to continue to call it fiction, because you got Alligator Alcatraz that started today. And we talked about it last week. And then after we got to talk about Fox, was all over. They were bringing guys left and right, celebrity, just tours and all this. David Icke says, it shows how deep the programming goes and the transformation of society into this extreme dystopia. that so many can't see how beyond Orwellian, bizarre, and tyrannical this is. Trump is urinating on them, and they say the rain will be good for the plants. And I guarantee you that will have people like us in that building. Those people that are, it's not just for they're just saying right now it's for the illegals. Really? You built that thing just for illegals you're going to deport? That seems like a lot of waste of money. 400 billion, I think they use or something like that, is astronomical. And it's not just something for a couple of years. Eventually, you're going to have regular people down in that thing. And they just said, you're anti-Semitic. We will get you there. We're going to eliminate anti-Semitism. And again,
after the anti-Semitism, Steve, it'll start to be people based on credit scores, based on who's cooperating with the social credit score and who is not.
I hope we are wrong on that, but darn, man, that thing, guarantee you. Hey, especially in 3.5 years when a new regime comes in, if it's the other team comes in, they think they're going to bulldoze that thing and put somebody else in there. Dude, get your bags packed.
I hope you like Florida. Steve and I have been joking about moving to Florida. When the new regime comes in, I think we're going to get relocated for free. I
used to joke saying, give me the ocean view on Gitmo, but man,
we won't even get Gitmo. We're going to get the swamp. Trump promised to drain the swamp, and instead he installed a prison in it. So it's a swamp. He made it the swamp.
That thing, that thing doesn't go away when, I don't know, say AOC or Hakeem or who knows, whoever's the next allowed dictator.
It doesn't even have to be them, Steve. It'll be JD Thiel. And whatever JD wants in that regime, JD will do. Right? JD's not your friend, he's not your buddy, he's not any of this kind of stuff. JD is there to advance JD. And he's a politician, so I don't fault him for that, because that's every politician.
Yeah, I think they need to keep Thiel in there because, I mean, remember I was telling you, hold on?
Yep.
Peter Thiel discusses the Antichrist and transhumanism, and just here, hold on, let me pull up those videos for you. I mean, wow. Here's one that you're like, wait, what?
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
It takes them a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
Should
in this.
the human race survive?
This is the guy that's basically running America from the back room, and he can't answer whether or not humans should exist. Okay, he's got his tentacles everywhere, all over Trump's office. From people like David Sachs in the Office of Science and Technology Policy, to companies like Palantir, if you remember, they're creating a master database on all of us, down to Doge, and all the way up to the Vice President, J.D. Vance. He's all over Trump's cabinet as well, from the Department of Defense to the Department of State, Department of Energy, also the Department of Health and Human Services. Let me just read some quotes from this insane interview called Peter Thiel and the Antichrist. Here he's talking about trans, and he says, quote, "The critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's, man, it's so pathetically little. And okay, we want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind and change your whole body." What the f? He also told the story of when he was at PayPal and he took his entire company to a, quote, freezing party, and that you could freeze your whole body or just your head. And this part where he's asked whether fusing humans with computers is heretical from a Christianity perspective, and he says, yeah, I don't know. I think the word nature does not occur once in the Old Testament, and so there is a sense in which the way I understand the Judeo-Christian inspiration, it is all about transcending nature. Maybe I'm just the simpleton here, and I'm the one who doesn't get it, but...
And yeah, it was not literally Charles Manson.
Okay, but I want to stay with the Antichrist just to end, right? And you're retreating. You're saying, okay, environmentalism is already pro-stagnation and so on. Okay, let's agree with all that.
I'm just
but
saying
we're not living under we're not living under the Antichrist right now. We're just stagnant, right? And you're positing that something worse could be on the horizon that would make stagnation permanent, that would be driven by fear. And I'm suggesting that for that to happen, there would have to be some burst of technological progress that was akin to Los Alamos that people are afraid of. And I guess this is my very specific question for you, right? Is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great, we're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
There are all these different scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
To be clear, I don't think that's what you're doing either. I'm just interested in how you get to a world willing to submit to permanent authoritarian rule.
Well, but
we'll just put an app on
again. There are these different gradations of this we can describe, but is this so preposterous, what I've just told you, as a broad account of the stagnation that the entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism? This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety, and we've submitted.
That's the guy that's pretty much, like they said, in charge of the federal government right now.
Yeah, he does look sick because he's a gay dude, and that is not good for your health. So whoever said he looks sick, that's because of his lifestyle. We'll just say we'll be nice and say it's because of his lifestyle.
That's his normal look too. But I mean, it goes into Detachment 201 last week. Again, you're not going to see a lot of people talk about that.
From June 13th, just a couple weeks ago, the Army's newest recruits, tech execs from Meta, OpenAI, and more. So you have, as I just said, some of the top executives from Meta, which controls WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram, OpenAI, Palantir, which we did a whole show on a couple weeks ago, and others. And these top executives, they're not military people, but they're nonetheless joining the U.S. military. Quote, the Nerd Brigade is reporting for duty. They probably won't win any push-up contests and might not be sharpshooters. Yet for part of the year, a set of brainy Silicon Valley executives will trade their corporate branded vests for U.S. Army Reserve uniforms because they know a heck of a lot about artificial intelligence. The chief technology officers from Palantir and Meta Platforms, Shyam Sankar and Andrew Boz Bosworth, respectively, will join Keith Wheel and Bob McGrew of OpenAI pedigree to make up the inaugural cohort of a new Army Innovation Corps. Their mission, swap corporate suites for bases, military bases, and bring some badly needed tech upgrades to the Army. Bosworth said Meta chief executive Mark Zuckerberg supported his decision to join the reserve. Quote, there's a lot of patriotism that has been under the covers that I think is coming to light in the Valley, he said. The tech recruits will be sworn in as uniformed officers in a public ceremony on Friday, the day before the Army's 250th birthday. Many in Silicon Valley assert that their cutting-edge know-how can equip the military for a conflict with a hot tech powerful adversary like China while profiting the tech sector. Everybody wins. New wars, massive profit for the tech sector, and a merger of the U.S. military and the corporations that know the most about you and that can most control your communication and the information you receive and how you think. For the Army, the deepening ties can help it prepare for the wars of the future. They are expected to be waged in part with ground robots and drones and rely on networks of sensors and artificial intelligence to coordinate it all. Detachment 201 is the first deployment of tech elites. Brent Parameter, the Pentagon's chief talent management officer, who has been leading the creation of a tech reservist program since late last year, is pushing for other services in the armed forces to follow the Army. The tech reservists will serve for about 120 hours a year because of their private sector status. Each will carry the rank of lieutenant colonel. Also, the executives will advise the service on acquiring more commercial technology. They will help the Defense Department recruit other high-tech whizzes. Now, let me just stop there before I read the next part, which is, we often throw around the word fascism. I don't mean we as in the show. I mean we as Americans, we as people in the West who comment on politics. Obviously, calling Donald Trump a fascist has become almost obligatory in liberal circles. Lots of other leaders, including those who are democratically elected, get called fascist, typically if they're right-wing populists. And I think a lot of people use that term without ever really stopping and thinking about what it means. Typically, when you study fascism as a kind of scholarly pursuit, you look at the dogma as shaped and defined by Mussolini and the thinkers on which that fascist government was based, and then obviously Adolf Hitler as well. And one of the primary defining factors is that there's no more separation between the public sector and the private sector, which has been foundational, at least in theory, to the United States. Instead, there's a merger, so now you have corporations and the government that work in conjunction with one another for the same goals and no longer separately, and that's exactly what this is. Here's something that the Wall Street Journal says that in the next paragraph that I want you to listen to because it's extremely dubious, if not demonstrably false. Quote, less than a decade ago, says the Wall Street Journal, even working on technology that might be used in the military, never mind suiting up for service, was anathema in Silicon Valley. The new reserve program reflects how the relationship between the Pentagon and the tech industry has deepened. It's absolutely true that the relationship between the tech industry and the Pentagon is deepening, and we ought to that's why it's really worth stopping and thinking about, even though it's not much in the headlines and the news. It's probably as significant as anything that is in the headlines, and a lot more significant than many things are. But the idea that there's been some aversion to having serious cooperation between tech companies and the military and intel arms of the government is laughable. A major part of the Snowden reporting, which was now more than a decade ago, reported how Silicon Valley companies, the leading ones, Google and Yahoo and Facebook and et cetera, Microsoft, we're working hand in hand with the NSA to provide massive amounts of data without the need for a search warrant or any other legal.
Yeah, he goes on for a while. I mean, again, he's outside of him and us and a couple in the alt media, ain't nobody talking about this. It's very disturbing that no one's bringing it up. I mean, here's technocracy.news. OpenAI scores $200 million military contract. Again, this was June 18th. Nobody wanted to talk about it because you had the Palantir war going on. The AIEA and Palantir colluded with Israel to manufacture war with Iran. Here's James Corbett's thing on what does Palantir actually do. It's if you don't know, if you go to corereport.com, it costs $1 to get these, so it's well worth the reads. Peter Thiel and Palantir are in the heart of the Iran nuclear deal. Oh, forgive me. Did you, Rick? Did you see the MIT guy talk about the bombings?
No, I'd like to see that, Steve.
Let me see if I can find.
I think that's a great setup. I have not heard the MIT guy talk about the bombings. Steve, the bombings were so last week. They were so last week, man. We're talking about the big beautiful bill now. All right, Trump is a chief peace in the Middle East now. He dropped a couple bombs on an empty factory or an empty place, and now everybody is good to go. So it's good. So we don't have to worry about any other kind of stuff there because it's we're going to completely ignore the the Gaza stuff, because we're going to make sure we get Gaza. We want to have the Gaza Strip ready, so we're going to let the Israelis do that. But at the same time, Iran is done. We're good, dude. We went in, we did the American thing. We did a drive-by bombing. We want to we did our drive-by bombing. We all literally. I can't say. I'm trying to say this in a family-friendly way because I'm not. I struggle with these kind. The rejoicing from the Christian Zionists were just incredible with the military might that we displayed at that time, and so it doesn't really matter, and you can drop the video whenever you're ready.
Oh, just to start out with, here's the Iran false flag warning.
There are Iranians that have come across the border when it was wide open. That is a big concern, obviously.
Well, it is, and we talked about this at the time during the last administration.
Yes.
The number of people who are on the terrorist watch list that we knew had come over. The issue becomes who we didn't know who came over, right? From both the northern and the southern borders. This is obviously, now we've got a DOJ, we've got an attorney general, we've got a president who understands the importance of safety in this country. And that is now built up. We know just President Trump's presence has sealed that border. But it is about from city to city, town to town.
Folks, I'm sorry, Steve. I don't mean to stop it, but this is literal idol worship that you are seeing in real time.
Oh, yeah.
His presence, Steve, shut the border. Remember when there was another president that said his presence was going to stop the sea levels from rising? We as conservatives made fun of that.
Yes.
Now we have a woman on Fox saying that when Trump descended from the heavens to us and went into the Oval Office, that the border, by the hand of Trump, the border was shut down. So I'm sorry, I just had to mention that. Please continue.
She's the lunatic that came out the other day saying that the United States, which is America's the greatest country next to Israel.
Oh, okay, got it. Yep,
that's her.
It all makes sense.
By the way, guess who's coming home Monday?
Who's coming home? Who?
Bibi Netanyahu.
Why is he coming on? Why is he not coming on America's birthday?
The boss comes home on Monday. He comes over to see how everyone's doing on Monday. Now this video starts out with all the narrative, right? We obliterate this. This is why you question us, all this stuff. And then it gets to the MIT interview.
Indication from U.S. intelligence that Iran was able to move any material, including
just the opposite. We think we hit them so hard and so fast they didn't get to move.
There's public imagery available saying that highly enriched uranium was moved out of Fordo before the strikes. Is that accurate? Have you seen that?
There's nothing that I've seen that suggests that we didn't hit exactly what we wanted to hit in those locations.
You dropped 17
uranium was removed from the facility before the B-2 struck.
So I'm not aware of any intelligence that I've reviewed that says things were not where they were supposed to be.
And there was no indication to the United States that any of that enriched uranium was moved prior to the strike.
From any of the sites?
Correct.
And nothing was moved from the site, by the way. To do that is very dangerous. It's very, very heavy material.
Do you think that the Iran regime hid some of the enriched uranium before the strikes?
No. You mean, did they take it out of the deep one? No.
Because you were pretty clear you can't have a weapon, you're going to have to come to the talk, something's going to happen.
I don't think they did. No, I think, first of all, it's very hard to do. It's very dangerous to do. It's very heavy, very, very heavy. It's a very hard thing to do. Plus, we didn't give them much notice.
Very heavy.
Iranians supposedly have about maybe 600 kilograms of highly enriched, 60% enriched uranium hexafluoride. This is the gas that they would use in the centrifuges. Well, you could put that in one canister. These big drums that they drag around. You could put that on the back of a truck and move it. It's like moving, a ton of material on a truck. I mean, you just have a 5-ton truck or, the back of a pickup truck. You can almost.
Because, they're trying to describe it like it was almost an impossibility for them to get it out there in a short amount of time.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's just trying to play on the non-expert lack of knowledge in the public. I don't use the term ignorance here because there's no reason, if you're not an expert, you should know these details. So they're trying to play on the lack of expertise of an interested and intelligent audience. What are you talking about here? This is ridiculous. They have these canisters that they use to store uranium hexafluoride. One canister can carry all the uranium hexafluoride, load it on a truck, drive it into a deep tunnel somewhere.
So that's not only plausible, it's likely that that's what occurred.
Likely. I mean, these guys
Definitively.
are out there pouring concrete days before an attack or weeks before an attack. You mean they're not going to move this stuff where they know? We know the location because the International Atomic Energy Agency publishes the location data. And the Iranians have been following the agreement to keep the International Atomic Energy Agency informed. They have announced that they will no longer keep the International Atomic Energy Agency informed. Now we know nothing about their program. They could be right now enriching that uranium to a bomb at a rate, I would say, if they only had a small centrifuge, 1/20th the site at Fordo, they could be enriching 60% to 90% uranium to 25 kilograms of 90% uranium once a week. Bomb a week at this point with next to no enrichment capabilities, with a small fragment of their capabilities. Now, who understands the state of the Iranian program would not advise a military group of officers? It was destined to fail.
And what you just described a little bit about what they're doing with the uranium now has been called an impossibility by everyone in the administration, basically from the top on down.
They can have, in a matter of months, I would say, a few cascades of centrifuges spinning and producing enriched uranium, or less than that. But as I said, frankly speaking, one cannot claim that everything has disappeared and there is nothing there.
So,
remember, Trump told him it was coming. Trump told him he was going to hit that. So why wouldn't they move it? Now, of course, we are rewriting history, but, don't forget, Trump told him it was coming.
I saw you with that can right there, and I was wondering if that was the MAGA beer.
No, it's Hoplite. I don't drink beer. It's hop water. It's sparkling hop water crafted with nootropics. My wife likes it, so we have it in the house. It's good. I mean, so it does what it does. Yeah.
I was trying to find the.
It's trying to set me up now. Remember, we've done this. Remember, we had Dad's beer or whatever. It was Dad Bod beer or something like that a couple years back, and they had the calendar.
Yeah.
Every time now we have MAGA beer. Steve, when you buy the Trump phone, you get a year subscription to MAGA beer. It's all part of the package. So that way it keeps you up to date in the full MAGA, universe, the MAGA cinematic universe.
MAGA beer.
Coming soon, i.e. never.
The last one was literally just someone put like regular beer in a can, and because I asked one of my beer friends about it, and I go, how did they get this done so fast? And he said pretty much they just poured beer into a can, they got the distributors portion of it and just made a killing overselling cheap bad beer. So again, the cheerleader type person is going to buy the MAGA beer just because it's MAGA beer. Just
MAGA beer.
You get the hat, it's like Spaceballs. So literally
Spaceballs, the flamethrower, MAGA the beer.
MAGA the beer, MAGA the phone, MAGA the shoes. You got the Air Trumps sporting it.
That's right. We had the shoes. I forgot about Air Trumps.
You got the watch, you got the shoes, you got the hair. You could probably get to people just gonna walk around like the guys.
Yep.
Pull out the phone, get some golf clubs that are Trump ordered. I don't know why he ain't made his own golf clubs yet.
I mean, he has his own Trump shirts and stuff like that. So Trump golf does exist. I know, because the times I've stayed at the Trump Hotel, they have a bunch of Trump golf stuff. So no, that's a thing. that's a real thing. It exists.
Somebody commented, "Will it be made in Israel?"
Oh yeah. I mean, either Israel or Vietnam. One of those. Yep. Remember, they've done NFTs and MAGA coins and all other kinds of stuff too, man. They've already done that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Him and his wife both did that.
Yep. Yeah. So don't worry, they've already hit you with the MAGA, the MAGA beer and the MAGA things, all the MAGAs all the time. So,
but you got AI Pack going after Massey. One group, which was supposedly not governmental, going after targeting one guy because he's not getting the paycheck. Sure, is Massey perfect? No,
nobody is.
But yeah, I mean, for him to go out, someone had a great post. Maybe it was Daniel McNair talking about for Trump to go after Massey and not Graham or anybody like that shows a lot about how this guy is.
I mean, also, Massey's going to win his district again. He wins it with like 95% approval. And this isn't the first time Trump's gone after Massey. So it's not like Massey's shaking in his boots over here.
Like who are they going to pick? They're just going to grab some random person. Hey, you're going to go up against Massey. People are going to love him. They're going to have to find somebody that's, even if you throw millions of dollars at the guy, the only way you can do it is if you ship people in to vote out and vote instead of the place. Which, hey, don't give them ideas.
Yeah, right. Shh, Steve, stop with that nonsense. Don't be talking about it because they will.
By the way, I forgot to tell you, Back to the Future Day.
That's right. That's today, isn't it? Yeah. Yep. That's, they need to be here in order to let us know what's going on. I wish we could use Marty McFly right about now. We can go back and get the what is it? The book, the sports betting book.
Yes.
Just in case. But the whole thing is just nonsensical when you see people react the way they do and the way that they just blindly trust the system. But they don't trust the system, Steve, when the other team is in control. But as soon as this team's in control, it's like we showed the meme a couple different times. It's like, oh, I'm so glad the FBI is on our side now. And it's like, are you really that stupid? Dan Bongino and all those guys, they still haven't done it. Oh, they announced a bunch of mass arrests. Oh, great. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know if you saw this one or not, but Cash announced that they were shutting down the FBI headquarters. Do you know where they're moving into?
Yeah, it was the Hoover.
No, they're moving into the old USAID building.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
They shut down the Hoover building and then moving into the old USAID building. You can't even, and people are like, oh, so good. Yeah.
Well, the peace president, man, I mean, we're bombing Somalia, but give him the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yep. Well, the Pakistanis are recommending it so he doesn't bomb them. That's really what they're doing. They're just like, would you like the Peace Prize? Do you do not bomb us? No bombing.
U.S. imposes more sanctions on Iran, the first since the 12-day war ceasefire. Axios reports the U.S. and Iran will hold talks next week, but has been confirmed by either side. Announced first round of new sanctions on Iran since the end of the day, signaling the so-called maximum pressure campaign against Tehran will continue. So, peace and love. Here's a couple. I won't click on all the links, but U.S. launches airstrikes during a major battle between U.S.-backed force and al-Shabaab in Somalia. Israeli forces massacre 118 Palestinians in Gaza over 24 hours for trying to grab bread. And Hezbollah rejects U.S. demand to disarm, says it's a domestic issue. Give them the Peace Prize.
Give it to them. Just shut up and give it to them.
There's a video I played, if it wasn't terrible, of some kid walking down Gaza and the building explodes.
Peace, President. Peace Prize.
Our bombs.
Give it to him. Just shut up and give it to him. Stop it. Stop being like that, Steve.
I know.
You're getting in the way of the agenda. That's all I'm saying, man. Just stop being such a contrarian and get on board.
Forgot about Israel. Syria talks propose U.S. troop deployment to territory Israel captured in southern Syria.
Yep, because all those are on the list, the infamous list of places that we need to take over and make sure that we have control of, because we have to have control of them. If not, who is?
Well, you see, Elon's trying to make a third party, right?
Yeah, I think Elon just needs to stick with making crappy trucks.
What am I doing in politics? It's not. I don't want to be in politics. I want to be clear.
As
That
he's
is not
still
my
in
preference.
politics.
I just like building stuff. I like building products that people love, and I derive joy from seeing people enjoy the products that my companies make.
Just because they want to hear blabber. Here's what his former friends speak of him now.
Is to support the invasion. To oppose this bill is to support the continued giveaways and freebies to cheaters and scam artists. To oppose this bill is to support a 68% tax hike on the American public.
Hey, Rick, I guess you and I support all that because of the false dichotomy.
And it's
Of course
also
we do.
to
I'm all about it.
To oppose this bill is to support a deprivation of all of the tax benefits that President Trump is fighting to deliver the middle class, like no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. The Senate passed this bill just today, demonstrating that they are fighting for President Trump. They are fighting for his agenda. They are not going to listen to an outside voice that does not represent the interests of the American people or the interests of the Republican Party. And the House is going to rally behind President Trump to pass this bill for America.
America.
Trump first, not America
Trump
first.
and always. Pledge allegiance. You better pledge your allegiance to it, homie.
Well, EK had a great line on here. It was Israel spokesman in the Trump administration. That's Steve Miller there. Well, they all are really now trashing Elon without a mention of the $250 billion to get Trump elected. When the cult leader turns on you, it doesn't matter what you've done for him. MAGA media, take note. All this is creating a very chaos that this crowd are in there to generate. Chaos means the status quo is demolished, and that's exactly the game. So the new AI status quo can replace it.
Chaos. Chaos theory, baby. Chaos.
Chaos.
That's all it is. It's all it is, my friends. So, yeah. Not really shocked by any of this, because if you've been paying any real attention to it, the writing's been on the wall. But I get it. A lot of people are, I don't know. And who said that up here? I'm not gonna throw shade at you, but I get the feeling, right? There's no real alternative. Now, James, if you were to ask Steve and I, there is one alternative that would solve all of your problems, and that would be to get your state to start acting like a state again, and maybe, hopefully, kind of here in Texas, we have a thing. We call it Texit. If we were able to Texit, then none of this stuff would really worry me.
There was a meme by one of the Texas nationalist guys saying, "I'm with stupid," and the arrow is pointing at all the other states.
Yeah, everybody else. And when we Texit, you guys can have Ted Cruz back. We will give you Ted Cruz.
Can he be deported back to Canada?
We can deport him back to Israel. What are you talking about? since he's an Israeli one, Israeli first senator. But yeah, the whole thing is it's guys, secession. I know people is yeah, James, you got the Texas flag in your avatar, man. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, baby.
Tomorrow's secession day.
It is. It is.
Don't
Everybody's
celebrate
going to celebrate it. And then we're going to say, text it. And they're going to, you can't text it. What do you think the colonies did, homie?
Don't celebrate it if you don't like it. They seceded from Great Britain as free independent states.
That's right.
As in countries.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
Happy secession day. And then well, you can't secede now. All right, don't celebrate 4th of July. You don't like secession, you're not allowed to celebrate 4th of July, because then
you got to go to work tomorrow. All right, you got to go to work.
Anybody, not saying James was that. I'm talking about you as in whoever doesn't believe in secession. You should not celebrate tomorrow, because that'd be hypocritical.
Yeah. So it's one of these things that is just crazy to see how you have options. There's definitely
well, not voting is an option.
Yeah.
You're not you abstain, which there was more people abstaining in this last election. They're not going to tell you that. But if you look it up, there was more people abstaining than they said. They said most votes. Yeah, there was also a lot of people that didn't vote. A ton did not. And that's an option too, because you don't want to impose your will on others. So people that voted for Trump, enjoy it. You're getting the KY jelly, except without the KY. Everything going on right now. You enjoy the AI White House link that's coming out tomorrow. That's hashtag. That's what you voted for. Apparently, everyone that voted for him that isn't for this should be just uppity about things going on right now. But really, no one is.
No, but well, Steve, that's because they're being told to celebrate the win.
Yeah, just get the W. That's all it is. It's going
celebrate
to be worse for you later to get the win.
Celebrate that and do all these other kinds of things.
Speaking of Texas and weird and all that stuff, billions of flies to be dumped out of planes in an effort to fight flesh-eating maggot.
Yeah, Steve sent me this and I went, "Oh, what?" Huh?
The U.S. government is preparing to breed billions of flies and dump them out of airplanes over Mexico and southern Texas to fight a flesh-eating maggot. Sounds like a plot of a horror movie. As part of the government's plans for protecting the U.S. from a bug that could devastate the beef industry, like they care about beef, decimate wildlife, and even kill household pets, like they care about Fluffy. This weird science has worked well before. It's exceptionally good technology, said Edwin Burgess, the assistant professor at the University of Florida, who studied parasites in animals, particularly livestock. It's an all-time great in terms of translating science to solve some kind of large problem. There's a picture of a screwworm larvae that rests on an undated photo. Targeted pest is a flesh-eating larva of the New World screwworm fly. Plans to ramp up breeding and distribution of adult male flies, sterilizing them with radiation before releasing them. That they're just stop me when this sounds right. They mate with females in the wild and lay eggs by the female that aren't fertilized and those to hatch. There are fewer larvae, and over time, the fly population dies out. It is more effective and environmentally friendly than spraying the pest and oblivion. Well, I'll give them credit on that. Let's send the technocratic flies in. Send the Terminator flies. And it is how the U.S. and other nations north of Panama eradicate the same pest decades ago. Sterile flies from the factory in Panama kept the flies contained there for years, and the pest appeared in southern Mexico late last year. You can read more if you want. Just type it in.
No.
Well, back in Florida, they made these different mosquitoes. They have mosquitoes they are GMO'd in a way, and they have these. What do you call it? I mean, that's talk about jabs. They got little drones, and they talked about using mosquitoes to help vaccinations and things like this.
So, remember there was one a couple of years ago where there was a mosquito outbreak in Florida, and it was supposed to Zika virus. Yep, that was one of those flash in the pans. Like, this one's gonna kill us all, and it's like, no, it's not.
And when you spray, you kill off their predators like birds and dragonflies and
all that, just all the things.
You don't kill the mosquito, you kill the predator of it. Like here, I got dragonflies all over the place. There are
dude, I got Mothra-sized dragonflies. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I'm expecting Godzilla to show up.
Did you see that dragonfly just eat that into that bug?
Oh yeah. That's kind of funny. Yep.
Imagine having we used to joke about if you don't want to eat a food if a fly doesn't land on it. What if that fly lands on it?
The flesh-eating magnet one. Sorry. My bad. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry. Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like an oopsie.
This on Twitter was pretty good. What could possibly go wrong?
It's the government, man. What could possibly go wrong?
Can't see this backfiring. Tree lizards from The Simpsons.
Yeah, everything goes bad everything goes bad in that regard. But hey, you can only be so upset about things for so long. It's just you kind of have to just laugh through most of it.
Well, Tom Tillis was voting against the MAGA this week, so they're trying to get Laura Trump to run.
Hey, there you go, buddy. So you could have Laura Trump and Nancy Mace representing the Carolinas. That would be fantastic. We're trying to get less women in there.
She lives in Florida. She has
trying to get more. You guys are trying to get more. I'm trying to get less women in Congress.
They thought about her 4 years ago, apparently. She said, no, I want to stick with my family and raise the kids. So I guess the kids are gone now because 4 years later, she's talking about moving back to North Carolina to run for Tillis' seat.
She wanted to raise her kids until the opportunity presented itself. And it has now.
Pretty much.
Yep. So not a shock.
That's about all I got right now.
Yeah, there's really not. Here's the crazy thing, guys. We're not talking about the Diddy trial on this show because that's stupid. And
That's really a distraction thing.
There's nothing else because the big beautiful bill sucked the air out of the room, and also it's the middle of the summer, so it's kind of getting out there. So yeah, it's 10:30 East Coast time. So Steve, what do you got?
Cry room. I'll go with the AI.gov. Which goes back to the White. In case somebody's new, so Steve, that's at the White House. Here's AI.gov. Type it in, goes to whitehouse.gov. And everyone on the big BBB, the big beautiful bill, that's big beautiful havoc terrorist bill that we have now.
The thing.
Well, I should have went with Cry Room, the same guy for the Cry Room and Saint. All right, we'll do that too. The saint of the day or saint of the week is the guy that jumped in after his kid on the cruise in Disney. He's also the cry room because the moron put the kid on the level for a photo op and pretty much like dumped the kid in the water to begin with. So I think his wife threw him in the water afterwards.
Deservedly so, you could say.
Look at that dad. He's such a great dad. Yeah, he's an idiot because he put his kid up on the rail on a moving ship just to take a photo. I'm glad he jumped in after her, but still, pretty much here is that Bill Engel. Here's your sign.
Lou, thank you so much for your super chat. That is amazing. Thank you so much.
I didn't even know we had those.
What?
I didn't even know we had those.
I didn't even know either, but we do. And thank you, Lou, so much. My saint of the week is going to be Chris from Crash Cannon. It was first of all, I was late to our interview on Tuesday, and he was very gracious to wait for me. Secondly, had a great time with him. Interview went for about 2 hours. I think he's a really solid guy. It seems like he really just, he's not doing it for any other reason that he just likes to have the talks and the conversations and things like that. So he's my saint of the week because he's a pretty solid guy, and I'm excited to see what else he does. My cry room is the GOP, FBC, GOA, everybody that promised me suppressors and SBRs to get off of the NFA, and then at the last minute went, gotcha, and just ripped it away from me. Like I priced out a gun, Steve, that had a suppressor and all the things. I'm like, ooh, I can't wait for this bill. Nope. Just nope. Not for you. So forget you guys. Speaking about not voting, I'm not going to vote. Why am I going to vote for Republicans in federal elections now, Steve? Why would I vote for them? They've proven that they don't care about me. That I mean nothing.
Great point for the Texas guy, James. There is no party. If you're a quote unquote conservative, there is no party. It's big government or big government. They're both Lincolnite parties. They're both progressives. There is no party for conservatives. There's a party that doesn't suck as bad as the other.
There's the party that does it in slow motion.
Yeah.
And then the party that's doing it at ludicrous speed. So you just kind of pick which one you want to do it at. Yeah, so that's my cry room is that. Yes, that's right. We just got to wait for Elon to start his third party and he will save us. If I run for a third party, do I get a Cybertruck? If I run as a candidate in his party. But that's that's kind of it for this week. It's just that kind of stuff, folks. Anyway, thank you, folks. First of all, thank you. You're all in my Saints of the Week too for putting up with me with the technical issues at the beginning of the show. Guarantee that won't happen next week. But thank you guys for hanging out with us on this episode of News from the Pew. Please, before you go, we got about 300 people watching on X and YouTube, and we got some folks hanging out with us on the Rumble. If you want to support me, if you would like, I have a book on sale at Barnes & Noble and other places called The Armed Catholic, The Catholic Case for Guns and Self-Defense. You can get it. It's $15. It's a good little read. If you're interested in Catholics in their case for self-defense, you want to support Steve, download the Census Fidelium app. Is it on both Apple and Google?
Yeah, the easiest way to go is censusfidelium.tv and you'll find it there.
Yep. I know we said don't worry about smartphone apps, but buy this one and download this one and support Steve on this one. It's the best way to help support Steve in his work is doing the Census Fidelium app as well. But thank you guys for hanging out with us here on News from the Pew. We'll talk to you all next week. God bless and Viva Cristo Rey.
Happy Secession Day.
Happy Secession Day, everybody.
This fills you with pride, and this really get you going. And this stands for freedom, and this fills you with rage because
people that burn the American flag
should go
right to jail.
Congratulations, you're not a patriot. You hate your country and are groveling for government. Let me break it down for you. It's anti-American to worship government, but according to the Socialist Bond Pledge, when you pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, you're also pledging allegiance to the republic for which it stands, literally government. Further, the flag symbolizes the 50 states, government, and the 13 colonies, also government. It flies on government buildings, and many of the government agents who wear special authority costumes and badges wear it too. I know you probably think this government idolatry is righteous because America's a republic. And
you know how many people were posting about the pledge this week?
I bet.
Oh, Pasco and all those guys that pledge allegiance. I mean, that's why I put it on there, is because someone else is actually calling a socialist pledge. Never pledge. Anyways, sorry, had to get that out of my system.